Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Wow, I cannot believe what a large attendance we have for the conference this year. We're so excited you guys are here. What a great devotional and kickoff with Todd and Lee and Tim. So excited to spend the next couple afternoons with you all. I've got to meet several of you over the course of the last 18 months, couple years, and I'm so glad many of you are here. If I've not got a chance to meet you yet, my name is Casey. I'm one of the customer stewardship specialists here at eSPACE. My colleague Becca is here with me. We're going to lead this session together. It's all about event scheduler and work order and asset management user training, whether you are a user with user permissions and submitting event requests, performing the work of a work order, or if you've never seen this before, this session is for you. We're going to view everything from a user perspective, not going to talk about admin settings, but you're going to see some cool features within both event scheduler and work order management that we can cover in tomorrow's sessions for admin settings. So Becca, anything you want to share before we get started?
Yeah, excited to be here. Excited to share some things with you guys that you may know or that you may not know or may not utilize. So I'm just excited to be with everyone. Thanks, Casey.
Good. Yeah, we're so excited you're with us. Becca wasn't here with us last year and she came on board in the fall. And she's been a great addition to our team. So a couple housekeeping things. If you missed the very beginning of the opener with Lee, there is an option for you to ask questions at the bottom of your screen. You're going to see a chat box. You're also going to see Q&A. One of us is going to be monitoring those as we talk. So if you have questions, fire away. We'll work our best to get those answered for you. So with all that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Becca's going to kick us off here.
All righty. So I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to get this moved. All righty. So we are looking at a user's point of view, a user permission point of view for event scheduler side of things. So this is my user Belle. This is her dashboard. So like I was saying, I'm going to show you some things maybe you already utilize on how you create events, or maybe I'm going to teach you something new today. So let's get started. So first I want to show the dashboard. These are where you can manage your grids and the grid levels. And so as you can see, Belle has a draft. She has an approved event. Everything's been approved, and then a pending event. And something really cool about pending approval processes and events is your user who's requesting it, the owner of that event, knows the status of where that's lying once they submit it. And as you can see, when they don't submit it. So going back to that pending approval, as you can see, you can go to this little eye, and I don't know if you can tell from your end, but it is green and it says partially approved. You can click on this eye and it takes you right into the event. This then takes you to that occurrence where you can then expand that occurrence tab where you can see what is pending. So we have one resource that was approved and then a second resource that's pending approval. So she is able to see what status and what's been approved. Also, all users can see the history tabs for all events. So you can go in here and see when was done what, who approved it, etc. I am a fan of this history tab. I don't know if it's my um, generation that just like sleuthing, but I love seeing the history of when things are done, who it was done by, and etc. So that is always a tool that I've used in my past experience. Now going back to the dashboard, all your users have the capability. I'm just going to transition real quick to the help icon here. So all your users, anytime they need to submit a ticket for support, you just hit that support tab there. It will pop up a box where you can submit a ticket to support, and we would be happy to answer any questions or anything that needs to be addressed within your account. You also have knowledge base articles if you're not familiar. That's where you can see some curated articles that we have. Depending on what module you are on, those are what's going to pop up for you to choose. Community space, again, that's where you can post your ideas. We strongly encourage that if you think of something that not only would be great for you, for your organization, but that you think that would be a great addition for other organizations, please post those ideas there. And person icon. So this person icon is your personal profile, your personal notifications within your account, and where you can sign out. So transitioning to profile, when you go to that profile, that is where you can customize your notification preferences. When you're in that, you can see what you have turned on for email notifications for those push notifications, or you can manage those through the mobile push notifications on your eSpace app. I personally love the email push notifications. Um, they're fantastic. If ever you are not receiving an email that you think you should, with one of these categories being what you should be getting within that email, a good tool is to always check the My Notifications here, to see what was that should have been sent to your email, to see if it was sent in your My Notifications within eSpace as well. Casey, anything to add within the notification preferences?
No, nothing to add at all. Just make sure you guys know you can't manage notifications for anyone else. Each user has their own notification settings.
Alrighty. And then also with events, so a frequent question I get both in trainings and on support is, can my users see all events? And yes, they can, in a couple different ways. So you have this on the side menu here, this left side menu under events, you can select all events. This will show all events within your organization, including the drafts. And you can also kind of go in these columns and click on them to see, okay, what has forms attached to it? Or if you know the name or you want to search specifically, these three dots here, you can filter, and then you can type out a keyword that you may want to search. So if I put in after, from, and then filter, it's going to limit the amount of events that are going to be showing up. You can also see past events by changing the viewpoint in this right-hand corner here. And this also shares status. And remember, I'm on a user's account, so this is a user's point of view as well. So this is for all different user permissions can access these different statuses. Now moving to calendar. So remember, I said there's more than one way to see all events. Calendar is another way to see what's going on within your location, within your organization. A few fun things that I recently have utilized for myself is the daily space in item schedulers. I don't know how many of you use item schedulers, but the daily space one is one of my favorites, not only to share with people, but to use myself. This you can see what events happening within the space, within the times, and you can actually schedule events. You can add an event either by clicking that a tab right there, or you can double click. When you double click, it will then create that event as a draft. So this will show up in Bell's drafts now. So double clicking can start that event to being built. So really fun there. Now, going back to my dashboard, I wanted to go into Bell's draft and show you what happens after I submit this event. So a big difference that I see on the dashboard is I'm not seeing any spaces, services, or resources for this. That is because nothing's been reserved yet. When an event is in draft status, it is not reserving anything yet. It's not in a pending status. It is not reserving any of your items. And again, your items are going to be your spaces, resources, and services. So when I go into this event, again, you have all your tabs here. You can see the occurrences. And then when I go to submit for approval and I go back to my dashboard, that draft grid drops off. And that is because she has no more drafts. So no more drafts are there to appear. They'll appear once there's a new draft to be in that grid. To edit your dashboard settings, again, this is for all users. This is for your account only. You can go under your name, so edit dashboard settings. You'll click on that, and this is where you can move around those grids. This is for all levels of users. And what grid you have is dependent on your user permissions. So like you can see, draft's not there right now, but that's because she doesn't have any drafts. But when she does, it will appear there. If I move this to the bottom and she has a draft, it will then appear in the bottom once there's a draft to be seen. And then this is also where I love pointing this out because I think this is so great. If you go into the edit button here, you can hide a grid. So if it's a grid that you're not going to use or you're not going to get, you can just hide it. It won't even appear. Or you can also collapse a grid. And what collapsing the grid will do is it will make it so it's automatically minimized when you go into your dashboard. when you're viewing your dashboard, and then you'll just have to click the little plus sign to expand that view. So personally, on my admin level accounts, I have everything collapsed so I can see everything. So that's personal preference as well. Same with the dashboard font size. So you can change that from small, medium, and large for that font size. Today for my presentation, I do have it on large. Normally, I have it on small. Casey, anything that you would like to add?
No, I don't have anything right now, Becca. You're rolling along really well.
Okay, perfect. In addition, to the dashboard and what can be accessed. And you can also see the statuses of what needs to be pre-approved. She has one event that needs to be approved. That is the makeup that I have behind the scenes for my organization. That's not going to be for everyone. That's an additional setting in advanced general as well. Um, I will take a quick gander into floor plan if that's okay. We're going to go into floor plan. Now, Bell, all your users have access if you give them access in their user permissions to floor plan, to edit it or to view it. So Bell has both. She can view it and she has access to edit it. So she can create spaces. And as you can see, and I know I minimized it, so I have my key here that tells you what the different colors mean. So obviously gray is going to be unoccupied, blue is going to be set up. When an event is going on, it's going to be green, and a tear down is going to be orange or yellow. So I can click on that. So I clicked on my cafe and bookstore so I can see what's going on. It looks like a staff lunch event is happening. It tells me what time the event start time is in the setup. So we're currently still in that setup time. If I were to change this time up here to 12 p.m. and then set it. I'm on the wrong date. I have this set up for the day before on this one. So let me just set it to the 16th. Sets. There it is. So now it's green because now the event is past that setup. So that example was a day before setup and then the day of the event. So that's one way to utilize that. Now, another really cool function that, again, I utilize when I'm just kind of playing around in the system is I create an event from here. So I click on my gym, I can create an event, and it brings into a new tab the event makeup to start creating that event. So now I can start making this event and start building off of it. And that was from clicking on that space. So that's even a added layer than just doing what we did in the item schedule with the daily spaces. This, you can actually see the space, which I'm a visual person. I love when I'm able to see that visually. So that's just a really cool feature, and it's a game changer. So, I mean, I'm just saying. But with that said, and if you have anything else to add, Casey, please do. But I think I'm going to pass it on to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, this is great information, Becca. We've had a lot of questions. So what I'd like to do is maybe just take a couple minutes to answer some of the questions that are popping in. We've had quite a bit. So I'm gonna read some of those off. Now, I will say this with a disclaimer that I may not get to all the questions. I'm gonna read a few of those off during this a little bit of a lull between event scheduler and work order and asset management. It may give us a chance to circle back if we see some things. So the virtual option, in the details tab within Event Scheduler, if you're seeing that you are forced to select an item, now location, and Anita, your question about location, yes, you're always going to have to select a location if you have multiple campuses. That's going to help assign your event to the individual campuses. You should not have to select an item, which is a space, a resource, or a service within a virtual event, but you definitely still have to select the location, meaning one of your campuses, if that's what you're referring to. Easier to answer that one live than it is to type it out. So integration between Event Scheduler and work order and asset management. I can cover that a little bit when I talk in just a minute and show you how those two modules integrate with one another. Drafts. Brittany asked, will drafts show up as conflicts or on the daily calendars? So Brittany, when we talk about drafts, there's two things that you need to know. There's a true draft, meaning an event is in the creation process. It's not been submitted for approval yet. And that event is in draft mode for the owner. While that event is in draft mode for the owner, it is really not going to show up anywhere outside of that individual user. That means that Becca is a user with user permission. She's creating an event. She's got that in draft mode, has not submitted for approval yet. It's really only visible to her. It's not going to show up. It's not going to reserve any items, even if you've selected 10 items. Remember, items are spaces, resources, and services. It is not going to select those or put them on hold. That means they can be poached by another user within your organization while it's in draft mode. Also not going to show up on the calendar or the item scheduler. Someone asked, how can I know when the forms are approved? I'm assuming you mean forms that are attached from Form Builder and that are attached with various spaces, resources, and services. A lot of times those go out to sub-admins for their approval. If they are part of an approval area, if those forms are attached to items that are part of an approval area and that sub-admin has signed off on that approval area, at that point, I would assume the information collected in those forms is approved. Blue highlighted items on the dashboard. Becca, can you share your screen with me on that one? I thought Christy was asking about the blue highlighted items on the floor plan. And so I answered her as have those being set up, the details, but I want to go back and see maybe what she's talking about.
That was on floor plan.
Okay, so the blue highlighted items, those are status tags and information showing you what's included with the event. So spaces and services. Becca, can you hover your pointer over spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to, when you hover over those, Christy, that is going to tell you what someone's reserving with this event request. That's going to give you a really quick high-level view. If you need to approve an event very fast without jumping into the event and looking at all the details, these are going to be places where you can collect the information very quickly. Becky, you can go ahead and hover over resources and services too, so we can see what else is included there. So really good high-level option for you to see what's going on there. Awaiting pre-approval, that's just another indicator that this user has submitted an event request and they are awaiting pre-approval on that.
And this that's right by the time instead of being by the resource, like it is on this example, the workbook club on the Sunday choir practice. This is indicating that there's a begin setup and end teardown. So you can hover over that and see that as well. And it gives you the dates and the times for that.
Yep. Got a question about how do we get our floor plan loaded into the system? That is a great question. There is going to be a sub-session about floor plans. Make sure you join that. But honestly, it's just as easy as having a PDF already in place of your floor plan, having that saved as a document to your computer. You're going to create a new floor plan and you'll have a chance to upload that document right to the floor plan. If you click on floor plan and knowledge base, there's a getting started guide that's going to help you with that. Alice asks, how do you uncancel an event that was accidentally canceled? Alice, so it can't be restored. The good news about canceling events versus deleting them, however, is canceling still reserves or records the information for you. You can still replicate it, reproduce it, things like that. I always tell people don't ever use the delete button unless it's something you want to say goodbye to forever. That is a hard delete, but we don't have an uncancel option at this time. Let's see if I can answer one more quick question and now we'll look at work order management a little bit. Let's see. After the draft is approved and it goes up into updating. Yeah, if it's already been approved and it reverts back to currently being updated, those spaces are still held. for you. It's not a true draft. Those true drafts before the event is ever submitted for approval, those are the kind that only your eyes can see. So good deal. All right, I think I'm gonna take a breath from answering questions, and then I'm gonna hop over into work order and asset management. I'm gonna turn my camera back on. So good job, Becca.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
absolutely. Let me make sure, you know me, I always have like 17 windows open. I want to make sure I have the right one. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen with you all. And what we're going to do now is look at work order management from a user perspective. If you have not used work order management before, this module functions largely just like Event Scheduler. Likewise, you may be in one module, but not have ever seen Event Scheduler. So they look the same as far as the construction. You're still going to have a navigational menu on the left. You're going to have a dashboard to work from. Becca already went over the options at the top with you, the top right. That's going to allow you to get help. Each module has its own unique knowledge base. That means if you're over in event management, event scheduler, you're not going to have to go over to work order management to look for event scheduler or vice versa. Each one has their own individual knowledge base, so you can search easily for articles right there. Someone asked earlier, how can they get tips and tricks, quick starts? We have a lot of resources for you. Knowledge base and community space are two of those resources at the ready to you 24/7 for you to go in and just kind of research on your own. If you love to Google things, I do. Knowledge base, community space are for you. They're going to help you a lot. So let's look at a couple things here as in a user perspective for work order and asset management. I have my dashboard collapsed. All the status headers I have collapsed. I want to go over them with you one by one so you can kind of see how work comes into work order management. So the very top one, this is Casey 2.0. This is my alias. I have user permission. So all my assigned work orders, these are work orders that have come into me or come in and been assigned to me. They've been they could have been requested by an internal user, a member of your congregation, or someone from the general public. You can set work order requests to go out any number of ways. We'll talk more about that in the advanced session tomorrow. But once a work order comes in as reviewed, it's assigned to someone. So I have some work orders that were assigned to me. Let's take a look at those. I'm going to expand this. And the first thing I can see is I have some status tags here. These are going to let me see the priority of the work orders. And this is going to allow me quickly to structure my day, to see the things I need to give attention to. I've got some descriptors, urgent work orders. These mean safety and security are at risk. Those are things I need to prioritize, right? High, those are things I'm also going to have to put high on my priority list. And then there's some standard things that we can get to in 2 or 3 days. It's going to allow me a lot of options when it comes to structuring my workday, especially when those off task times come up. We know they all do. 30% of a lot of facility team members' time is spent in off task duties. We want to make it easy for you to pick right back up where you started. So let's look at a couple things about the work orders when they come in. You can review the work orders. You can take a look at the information included with each work order. You can see what it is. This came from a scheduled work order, by the way. Preventative maintenance is one of the rock stars of work order and asset management. It's where you can create work orders and set those on a frequency. So you can actually set and forget. Those work orders will recur on an automated basis, depending on the rules you set. This one's for cleaning the Bun coffee maker. A lot of you have those huge, giant Bun Titan coffee makers in your church. They need maintenance. They need to have the filters changed. They need cleaned and descaled. So this work order is assigned to me, and I can view all the details. I can see the service category. I can make some comments if I need to. I can see the piece of equipment. There's a piece of equipment linked to this work order. So lots of options here. If your admins allow, I can even transfer this to someone if I don't have the time. A lot of what I'm showing you today is going to be settings that are administrative in nature. They can only be done by a system admin. So you want to make sure you tune into that session tomorrow on administrative settings too. The Spaces tab, again, if you've used Event Scheduler and you're just seeing work order management for the first time, you're seeing a structure here that looks very similar to Event Scheduler, okay? You're going to be able to assign this work order to a space. This could have happened when the work order was created. It may be that it's required for somebody to tell you where this work needs to be performed. I already know this one's going to happen right in the catering kitchen. I already know what needs to be done and where I'm going. Lots of information delivered to me right off the bat. The cost tab, this is magical, this tab. So you're going to be able to add equipment from this tab. You're going to be able to add any inventory. If there are filters needed with this, if we have used a whole bottle of descaling solution and we've built that in our inventory registry and made it available, we can add that as a cost. We can add every piece of inventory we've used to clean and descale this coffee machine. The beauty of this, when we add it, there's going to be a dollar amount assigned to this inventory if those have been set up in administrative settings by a system admin, and it's going to record those costs for you. You can record labor. If you're a technician and you're wanting to keep track of your time and labor, you can record that right on the cost tab. There's miscellaneous options you can add to a work order. You're going to be able to add, maybe the price of an invoice that comes in. You can add that. You can add a miscellaneous cost, name it, say invoice cost, put the labor and materials in, any notes that are important, and click save. Not only can you record the cost of that invoice that comes in, you can just drop it right here on the attachments tab. Get all that paper out of your drawers. A lot of technicians and vendors send digital copies of invoices and billing, things like that now. Go ahead and save those to your computer and then upload them right back to Work Order and Asset Management. All those details are together. Tasks. This tab is going to change your life. If you have new employees, if you have volunteers, if you have people that you need to instruct a process to, maybe you have hospitality team members that are going to do this job for you. You don't have the time to come alongside of them and teach them how to do this. Create a task list. This task list includes a step-by-step process for cleaning this coffee maker, okay? There's no question about what needs to be done. You can add these tasks right into the work order one at a time. Work Order Management also has a task library where these tasks can be preloaded. They can be assigned to service categories and then attached to work orders where the service category matches. So they're beautiful. They also keep you from creating 7 different work orders for each individual step of a job. So with each task, you can go in, remove spray head from brewer, disassemble by removing the seal. Clear, right? We can go ahead once we've done that, check. We can mark it complete. We can mark the next task complete. And as those tasks are marked complete, they move right over here to completed. If you are the kind of person that likes checklists, or again, honestly, if you just have to get off task, if somebody grabs you for something else, you can remember exactly where you left off, go back to that job and continue on. It really helps you keep organized and keep everything straight. Conversations is just like Event Scheduler. If you've already used that, it's a way for you to chat about a work order internally or even externally. Right within the work order, it's going to record that conversation right in the work order. Attachments. This is huge. This is going to be any photos that have been submitted to the work order, any attachments. So I have added this piece of equipment right to this work order. And because I added the equipment to the work order, all of the preloaded attachments that my admins have added are going to be right there with this work order too. So with the equipment, I can open that up. I can see the attachments. Open that up real quick. I can see a photo of this. I can already, you can add a photo with it. You can see any warranty information that's come with the piece of equipment. This is kind of a one sheet, gives you all the specs, things like that. That can be attached right with the piece of equipment. You've got your dimensions there and everything. And then you're going to be able to, oops, we got kicked out of that. Let's go back in there. But you're going to also be able to see warranty information. If somebody says, hey, do you know how long that's under warranty? You as an individual user can see that information very quick. You don't have to rely on going to find it in a file cabinet or something like that. It's already there. Those attachments, again, are added by admins with your equipment or sub-admins if they've been given the ability to manage equipment. Your history is going to track every update to a work order. From the time the work order was created, I can see April 9th, this work order was created, and then I can see every update that has occurred since the work order was completed and up to the most recent change today at noon. It lets you know who updated it and what change they made. Very valuable, leaves a clean audit trail, allows you to understand what happened within the work order, especially if someone has not made the comments that they need to. It gives you a level of understanding with that. Forms allow you to collect specific information per service category and attach that if a work order has a service category for like graphics or communication requests, something like that. And there's very specific questions that need to be added. You can create forms and attach those. We also have in the admin settings, we also have user-defined fields that helps with that a lot too. Item closures. So in a user role, you can't create item closures, but if there were a closure, closures work with Event Scheduler, our event management system, to be interconnected. So if a closure had been created, let's say if a gym had a work order, gymnasium had a work order for a leaky ceiling, and as you go in and start performing the work of the work order, you realize that the gymnasium needs to be closed down for a week. Your admins have the capability to create a closure right from that work order. You as a user would be able to see that right on the screen, and you would be able to know if there's anything else affected with that. That's kind of the walkthrough of a work order. Let's travel back out to the dashboard and look at some different things. Becca, let me take a pause. I've been talking a lot. Are there any questions that really need to be answered live?
They've been coming in. One was asking, Matthew Swift asked, how do you make tasks reoccurrence that it will pop up monthly or quarterly? So pop-up reminders. Is there a way right now to do pop-up reminders?
Pop-up reminders. So the best advice I would have for that, did you say Matthew asked that question?
Yes.
Yeah,
believe so.
that's a
Yep.
great question. The best advice I have for that, for tasks, that would be twofold. So one is going to be, you can include those with preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance work orders that are created by admins or any sub-admins that you've given permission to create preventive maintenance items can create those scheduled work orders. Within the work order, you can create a task list. That task list is going to be automatically generated with the work order. I have seen people create tasks within daily restroom cleaning checklists, and they have the preventive maintenance work order that generates daily or weekly. I've seen ones where somebody creates a work order just for organizing the guest services area. After Sunday, guest services gets a little bit in disarray, right? So each week they need somebody to go in and tidy up that area. There's a checklist that's included. So the trick to that would be to put the work order on a scheduled frequency using preventive maintenance and include those tasks at that time right with that work order. And those tasks are going to generate each time. This work order for the coffee maker that I just walked through for cleaning that is on scheduled maintenance. I believe I set this one for monthly or quarterly. I can't see my admin account right now, so I can't tell. We'll look at the same work order again tomorrow. Again, join me and Nathan Parr for that session if you haven't committed to join that one yet. But you can set the frequency. Again, I think this one's set for monthly or quarterly. The tasks are actually preloaded when you set that frequency, so they generate each time with that work order. The other thing I'll show you, I'll jump a little bit ahead of myself, is under assigned tasks. When you have a work order assigned to you, or maybe you don't have a work order assigned to you, tasks can be assigned to you outside of a work order as an individual, but the entire work order can also be assigned to you and all the tasks included with that. When they are, you're going to see my assigned tasks in this status header. I'm going to just expand that. And you can see we're going to continue right along here. These are the tasks that were included right with that coffee descaling work order, coffee pot cleaning. And these were the ones that were not complete. You can actually mark them complete right from your dashboard. These are other tasks that were associated with other work orders. And again, these pop up for users. Tasks can be assigned individually to a user, even if the work order is assigned to somebody else, or the work order can be assigned to an individual and they also get all the tasks assigned. So lots of flexibility there. Great question. Becca, let's do one more before I move on.
Yeah. Erica asked a really good question. She asked, I know how to create closures, but we do space reports. And when I'm holding a space, it can cause issues. Just wanted to know if there is info on closures and usage. So best practices there. And I'm unsure if this is I'm assuming it's referring to work orders because as we know, you can also create closures in Event Scheduler. So
So re-articulate to me what her, the challenge is with that one.
Yeah, so they're holding spaces, but they run a space report, and that can cause some issues. She's just wanting to know if there is info on closures and usage.
Yeah, the knowledge base would be the first line of action there for checking on closures and reading all the information that's available to you on closures. If it's causing a specific problem for you, what I would do is if you can tell us the event number, the name of the event, and the action that's causing the most grief for you, if it's causing a challenge, let us know at the support desk. That may be something we need to take a look at.
Mhm.
Hey. I think I'm going to move on and then look at some other things about work orders. Now, we looked at the one work order here. This one, again, has that priority tag scheduled. It's approved. So I want to take a moment to talk about approved in work order management. So an event scheduler, when an event is approved, honestly, that means the event details have been reviewed by all parties involved, and it has been approved by sub-admins, admins, and it is ready to go. It's on the calendar, it's ready to go. In work order management, approved means the work has been approved to start.